do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners who may be aspiring entrepreneurs or real estate enthusiasts?
Yeah. So me, as you heard from my story, I'm not as much on the side of jumping and grow your wings on the way down. And
Yeah.
I do acknowledge that sometimes that has to happen, right? For me, God had to push me off the ledge for me to grow my wings on the way down. Some people, you can transition from your 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur from 6 to 10 and on the weekends. So what I would say is, pursue your passion and try to add value to people, whatever it is you're doing. It could be in real estate, it could be in somewhere else, it could be t-shirts, it could be a clothing brand. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you really believe that it's going to add value in some way to people, pursue it.
Yeah.
And the money will come. But if you pursue it for the money, you're going to get discouraged and you're probably going to quit. Because I saw a lot of realtors quit because they weren't making the money, so they went and got a job making $15-20 an hour, because it gets discouraging if you don't have something more pulling you or pushing you to wake up every day to do what you need to do, to plant those seeds and water those seeds and not see anything popping out the ground for weeks or months. It can be discouraging if your whole goal is to eat off of that seed that you just put into the ground. So what I would say is the regret from not trying is so much more than how you would feel about failing. Because when you fail, you learn something. Like I failed, and I took lessons. I had properties where I went in with the wrong people, and we'll learn about it later on. Disaster, major failure, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But I learned, and it's not going to happen again. So sometimes you learn from these losses that we take, but you have to start. I'm throwing a lot of sayings out there, but you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So, like we're starting this venture right now. We're trying to impact, and some of the episodes that they may not see had bad audio. It had bad video. It's part of the process, and it's part of failing. And we're gonna have some crazy comments, and we're gonna have some, okay, that's fine. That's part of the process, and embrace it and welcome it when it happens, and say, okay, yeah, I knew this marker would be on the road, so I know I'm on the right path.
I think, I'm listening to you and all the things that you're saying, and there's so much of it that resonates with me, because being an entrepreneur myself, I understand that. But I feel like sometimes as entrepreneurs, we think everyone thinks the way that we think. It's so crazy. Like today, anywhere that I go, like to a store or to an office, I go in there and I'm like, wow, people still do this stuff. Like people still work in offices, people still work regular jobs, and they're in their mind doing what we do is so out there and so crazy. But when you've been doing it so long, it's normal. At first it's scary, it's frightening, but after a while you become so accustomed to it, you're just like, yeah, I just invested in this property. Yeah, I just sold a multi-million-dollar house. Yeah, I just did that. It's just, this is what I do. This is the air that I breathe. This is what I live in. And I know I said that was our last part, but I feel like even going back into the calling aspect of it, you felt a real call from God into this space. Do you feel like that also was a key thing that sort of allowed you to get accustomed into this new way of living?
Yeah. So there were times I had to talk to God and remind myself that I thought I was reminding God, but I had to remind myself of what was said to me. And I won't say everything that the prophet said, but he said that you would have no lack, that you would lack for nothing, you would need for nothing. And I would present that to God. And because there's some needs that came up. And when I go into these places and I see people working, and I'm thankful for the 9-to-5 employee. I'm grateful.
Yeah. And
there's a space for that. Like, if all the doctors said, nah, man, I'm starting my own hospital. Like, come on. Come on now. So
all the teachers said, I'm starting my own school.
My own school, yeah. Like, my own academy. Like, it does take a special level of
calling.
Delusion.
Yeah.
where you believe, like, I'm like, bro, what I got, the way I'm making this impact, can't nobody else do it like me.
That is such a great way of saying it. It is a delusion. Like, our podcast is going to be the best podcast ever.
ever. Like, bar none. It's like, you have to, you have to have that approach. And in order to overcome the obstacles that will no doubt come up, you have to believe you have something to offer the world, that if you don't break through and offer it to the world, that you're doing the world a disservice, that you're doing your family a disservice. Like, you have to have a huge why. You have to have a why so big that it feels like, yo, I'm cheating somebody if I'm not. So somebody talking about real estate, I'm like, hey, let me school you to this. Let me tell you this. And not because I think I know everything, but because I know what I have to offer is gonna be some value. And I give value away for free all the time. Yeah. Like, I got people that call my phone that I haven't done one transaction with. Yep. That call me on a semi-regular basis. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? And I'll give them sound advice. I'll spend 10, 15 minutes with them on the phone talking strategy. But I don't make any money from it. Yeah. And my goal is relationship over revenue. I could plant here and reap over there. Like, that's biblical, that's churchy, right? Yeah. That's my upbringing, but I really believe that that's how the world works. That's how the universe is responding to us sowing and giving value. And I've done rentals, which rentals don't pay anything, right? I did a rental and it paid, I think, like a couple $100. But I worked with this customer and she bought 3 properties with me in excess of, what was it? Like 1.7. Yeah. So because I chose to take her small rental, because she was new to Tampa, she wanted to rent something, and the rental agent at my office was like, "Hey, do you want to show this property for me? It doesn't pay much. I think it was like $200." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I talked to her, and she said, "Man, you've been so great. In about a year, I think I'm gonna be ready to buy. I'll call you, and and then it's all about building the relationship for that year. I don't disappear. I'm hitting you up. Yeah. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. All of that throughout the year to build the relationship. And then when that year came, boom, bought a house. Then about 6 to 8 months later, she said, "Hey, I'm ready to invest. I got some money put away. I want to get an Airbnb." Oh, I'm already in the space. Let's do it. Yeah. Boom. Hey, my first Airbnb is working so great. I want to get another one. Help me identify and buy one. All right, let's do it. Boom. And, that's the level of delusion that, yo, I could help you.
Yeah.
I could help you. And it does go back to, my background in ministry is you pour into people. And sometimes you see nothing for it. You receive nothing from it. And you have to be open to doing that. Even when you're starting a business, you'll spend time with people. I've bought people lunches, taken them out to lunch, breakfast, and they didn't do one transaction with me. Spent hours with them. Spent hours away from my family with them, showing properties. Didn't end up in a transaction. But I've also had calls from people saying, hey, I want to put in an offer on this $1.2 million house, and I've already seen it. You just need to put the offer in together. Just be my agent. I've already seen it. We don't need to see it. I just want you to represent me because I know you'll do me right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say you invest and you plant seeds, and sometimes you reap them elsewhere.
Man, this is the first time I ever heard it phrased that way, a special type of delusion. It's so true, though. Like, we are so delusional, like, in a good way. It's I don't know. Is it like we want our lives to feel like they have significance? It's in one way, it's like there is a selfish part of it, right? Like, where you're wanting to gain wealth. You want to gain legacy even, right? Yeah. We both have children. We both have families. Yeah. But there's also this need, and I have it too, where like I want to feel like I made a positive impact on the people that I was able to serve.
Yeah.
And that's sort of that drive that keeps you going. And if you don't have that, it's probably best you don't get into any type of entrepreneurial space. Like, you need a certain level of delusion where you feel 100%. Like you're able to do something for somebody else that no one else can.
Nobody. Bro, how many podcasts are out there? But we think we got a message, bro, when you combine church and business and from our backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're black men, we're married, families, faithful, like, bro, there's a million podcasts out there, and that's underestimated. There's probably a million just on Spotify alone.
Right.
But we're saying, level up. You get a little level up in your life. You get a little level up in your life, in your weekly listening to podcasts. I will boost up your business, whatever it is, whatever you're going to get. You're going to get encouragement. You're going to get some laughs. You're going to get some instruction. You're going to get something from this podcast that nobody else is offering, because our perspective is original. Our perspective is fresh, and we are admitting we're a little delusional, and you should be too.
It's true. It is so true. We are very delusional. My wife reminds me all the time how delusional I am. And I have conversations with her all the time, and like she just looks at me like, fam. Okay, I get it. That's an original phrase. I don't think you heard. I don't think you've heard that. You might have. I'm like, I never heard it said that way, but that is so true. You have to be delusional to be able to stick with it, because it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah.
And there is the faith element that we're both going to dig deeper into. That I think is a very
part of faith is being a little delusional. The evidence of things not seen, like you ain't seen it. That's what you ain't seen it.